There's a former news anchor now. I don't know if you guys saw this, but a former news anchor out in Kansas, she's been charged with murder after allegedly stabbing and killing her 80-year-old mother. Police responded to a reported cutting at a residence in Wichita, Kansas at 7:52 local time on Friday, October 31st, Halloween. Police found a woman later identified as 40-year-old Angie Mock standing bloody outside the home. They entered the residence and found Mock's mother, Anita Avers, 80 years old, unresponsive in her bed with multiple stab wounds, and she later tragically passed away. Interestingly enough, though, Angie Mock previously worked as a news anchor and reporter for Fox 2 in St. Louis from 2011 to 2015, according to her LinkedIn profile. Let's go ahead and take a look at her news anchor reel, SOT 9.
I was in town. Good. They're leaving today. I don't know where my tissues are. That's all right.
The Ferguson unrest has captured international headlines.
People in this community are baffled by the latest development. Behind me, it is a much different scene from yesterday.
A grandmother and a 2-year-old boy are recovering this morning from gunshots.
All right. And then we have a neighbor who encountered this bloody Angie Mock, SOT 10. If we can play that, I want to then talk to my panel about the self-defense claim here in this case.
There's a woman who came and approached our vehicle with blood, like her hands were filled, her body was filled with blood, asking to call 911. I asked her if she was okay, and she was pretty shaken up, and she seemed scared, and she just ran off. I'm just glad that we were able to help, you know what I mean? Like, we never know what anyone's going through. This happened randomly, but as long as we were able to get 911 and see what we can do, that's all I really care about.
All right, so Castro there she told KAKE News that the woman Mock comes out and says she stabbed her mother to save herself. Without, I guess, any further details, we are left to speculate, as Mark points out that we do so well here on the show. Dave Aronberg, so what kind of self-defense claim do you think this could possibly be based on what we've seen so far?
Against an 80-year-old woman that she was in reasonable fear of her life, and the only real evidence is her self-serving statement that she made on 911. I don't think there's much evidence of self-defense, but we just don't know all the evidence yet. And right now, I would be reluctant to believe in any self-defense claim when you're dealing with an 80-year-old mom who apparently has no priors, and there's no evidence that she was the aggressor, and the only evidence that it's self-defense comes from the mouth of the defendant. So, I'm skeptical. But then again, I'm only recently a defense lawyer, so I'll leave that to Mark.
Well, if anybody can make a self-defense claim, Mark Geragos surely can figure out how this works.
I'm gonna err on the side of the hallmark of the criminal justice system, the presumption of innocence. All you have is you've got a deceased and you have statements by the accused. That in most jurisdictions isn't enough even to bring a charge, but we'll see. I don't think that there's enough here for any kind of a murder charge yet, and I think we should wait and see what happens. I mean, you have to understand something. Even though you have somebody who's deceased, and even though you've got somebody else. The eyewitness who we just played, who I think you referred to as Elisa Castro, Phil, she said that the woman approached, the accused approached, she had bloody hands, and she seemed very distraught. And so all of that is consistent with something more consistent with a manslaughter or a self-defense than it would be a murder in my mind. At least immediately doing what we do best, which is speculation.
Exactly.
Well, putting on my former cop hat for a minute, I can tell you that if you have a scene like that, you can expect there to be lots of forensics. There's going to be blood spatter. There's going to be all kinds of things there that can sort of paint a picture, if you will, of what exactly physically, mechanically happened on that scene. And We're not privy to it, but this is one that we're going to be following here at MK True Crime, because this Angie Mock has been charged with this murder, first degree murder. She's being held on $1 million bond. And it's, this is going to be an interesting case.
Aren't you surprised she hasn't bailed out?
Well, $1 million is one of those kind of bonds that nobody is ever really supposed to make, except probably some of your clients, Mark.
I hold the record in various jurisdictions for the highest bail that anybody's ever made. So, but there's at least, I always preface stuff with in California. In California, the bail bondsman, years ago, the attorney general put out an opinion that 10% was kind of a violation of antitrust, that it had to be negotiated. So there are bondsmen for $1 million who would probably bond her out if it were in California for a fraction of the 100,000. And you'd think that a news anchor was making enough, or at least have resources enough, that they could bond out. But also, I have one other question. I know that our next segment is questions and closings. I have a question for Aronberg. Because you seemed, once again, Dave, I'm psychoanalyzing from afar, a little disappointed that you're recently on the defense side. So how recently is this?
Since January, but I was in court today, and Mark, to your point earlier, and I was there for first appearance for a defendant, and I asked the public defender for a copy of the probable cause affidavit, and she gave it to me. Thank you. And then she made me sign paperwork to take it with me. And this is what your father said, like, excuse me, I can't take this sheet. It's public information. I can't take it with me. No, I got to sign it out. Very different than when I was the state attorney.
I was gonna say it's a revelation, isn't it? Just that cloak of invincibility and the white hat evaporates.
Oh, look, we are always swimming upstream. And look, there are lots of innocent people that do find themselves wrapped up in the justice system, people that are maybe not as guilty as they're accused of being as well. And all we're just trying to do is get a fair outcome. But yeah, it's always swimming upstream.